welcome to another session of AircraftPost Rousseau Report. I'm Dennis Rousseau. In the last few sessions, we've covered long-range and ultra-long-range aircraft such as the Gulfstream G5, 550, 650, and Falcon 7 and 8X models. Today, we're going to talk about the Bombardier's Global Series. As we have in the past, let's share a few thoughts on the aircraft's origin. These are two Bombardier wide-body aircraft. One is the 3,800-mile Challenger, the other a Global Express. Which one is the Challenger? It's difficult to tell the difference because the fuselage is one and the same. The one on your left is the Challenger, and the one on the right, a Global Express. The Challenger design is from the 1970s, and the fuselage dimensions, especially the width, are tough to beat. Bombardier has successfully used the same fuselage cross-section for 42 years. Until recently, with the advent of the Global 7500, the cabin windows were disproportioned to the fuselage. This could stem from the fact the original design was from Bill Lear, of Learjet fame. He used Learjet windows which were way undersized for such a wide-body aircraft, and as a result, passengers would actually have to crouch down in their seats to see out the window. More on that in just a moment. The Global Express was announced in 1993 in direct competition with Gulfstream's long-range G5. This iteration was the first of the Global Series and was built from 1996 to 2004, with serial number 9002 entering service in 1997 and 148 aircraft built over the ensuing 7-year production run. As a side note, there's been some controversy over the years with regard to year of manufacture versus entry into service. Because these early aircraft took so long to complete, in some cases up to 2 years, operators got together and wanted the year of manufacture changed to match the entry into service. At AircraftPost, we use the same year of manufacture as the certifying agencies, and the entry into service is the date the aircraft is complete and delivered into service with the first owner. So buyer beware. There are some that will represent the aircraft as 1997, when in fact, it's a 1996. The avionics for the Global were Honeywell's Primus 2000 XP, featuring 6 CRT displays. The package included dual flight management systems, triple laser ref, 3 inertial reference systems, triple integrated avionics computers, or IX, dual comm nav radios, and a single GPS. Now, although this system was the most advanced avionics platform installed in any aircraft at the time, it's now 20 years old, and the technology is dated. And Honeywell does offer a retrofit called the Primus Elite that replaces the CRTs with 6 flat panel LCDs for a cost of around $750,000, depending on add-ons. Now, this upgrade doesn't necessarily change the appearance of the cockpit, but does change the architecture. The 3-zone passenger cabin of the Global is 27 feet 4 inches in length. This excludes the vestibule and aft lavatory. The layout depicted here is what the standard configuration has become. As the ultra-long-range aircraft were so new to the industry, and the cabin so spacious, the OEMs allowed buyers to customize the interior to their desire. This in and of itself contributed to many of the delays in delivery. Each time someone wanted something outside the standard type certificate, an STC had to be obtained. Here's an example of early design with this owner installing a fixed bed in the aft cabin, which leaves 2 seating areas, zone 1 and 2, for passengers. In this next example, a 2-place divan was installed at a 45-degree angle, allowing for 4 passenger seating, and for overnight flights, it could be converted into a full-size bed. Another case of customization placed the conference group in the forward cabin. However, this made for a very narrow pass-through. Although aircraft in this category were designed for a 6,000-mile range, they fell short for a number of reasons, weight being one of them, and one of the most significant. The Global was shy of 6,000 miles by about 150. Keep in mind the aircraft had a relatively high cruise speed of 0.85 Mach. It could climb direct to 43,000 feet. However, performance does come at a cost, and there will be some trade-offs. In 2001, Bombardier wanted to fill the gap between its 3,800-mile Challenger and the near 6,000-mile Global. They introduced the Global 5000, a 32-inch shorter version of its larger sibling, with less fuel and at a price point where it could compete with the Falcon 900EX and Gulfstream's G450, both aircraft having a range of near 4,500 miles. The 5000 also had the Global's Rolls-Royce BR710 engines, supercritical swept wing, and advanced avionics, all delivering a range of 4,800 miles, and it was priced $10 million lower than the larger Global Express. And as you can see, it's very difficult to tell the difference from one to the other, although inside, the passenger cabin is 10 inches shorter, which is mostly absorbed in the forward section of the aircraft. As technology continued to advance with new flat-screen LCDs in the cockpit, reducing clutter and decreasing pilot workload, and OEMs introducing new aircraft, such as the Gulfstream G450, the G550, the Falcon 7X was in development. To compete, Bombardier introduced the Global XRS. And yes, this is an actual paint scheme on an XRS that was parked right outside my office, so naturally I had to get a picture. With the addition of a tail tank, improved computer systems, mechanical refinements and tweaks elsewhere, the XRS offered a range of 6,150 nautical miles at 0.85 Mach, making the 5860-mile distance between New York and Tokyo achievable, nonstop in both directions. What once was optioned in terms of avionics now became standard in the XRS, such as SATCOM, third FMS, HUD, EVS, also known as Bombardier Enhanced Vision System, 21-inch cabin monitors, Wi-Fi, all standard. Another improvement Bombardier incorporated to benefit the passenger cabin was to redesign the window reveal. They actually made the reveal larger than the window dimensions, allowing more ambient light into the cabin and outside viewing a bit less strenuous on the passengers. Now let's take a look at what has been defined as a standard cabin layout. Upon entering the aircraft, you'll immediately come upon the forward lav, which is vacuum operated, then the forward galley opposite the crew rest area. And this galley is equipped to handle 3 meals for 10 passengers on a 6,000-mile mission. Entering the cabin, Zone 1 is typically configured with 4 single high-back seats in a club arrangement with standard swing-out footrests, which are extremely important for long-range travel, and once again, the 21-inch bulkhead monitor is standard. Mid-cabin, or as we call Zone 2, you'll find a credenza, which typically holds life rafts for overwater flights. Opposite is a high-low conference table with 2 sets of double high-back seats, and a mid-cabin bulkhead is standard. Another mid-cabin configuration for high-density seating is the installation of a 3-place divan or 1 single seat in place of the credenza. Aft cabin has a 3-place berthable divan. However, in order to occupy the forwardmost divan seat for takeoff and landing, the bulkhead has to be removed. Opposite the divan are 2 single wide high-back seats. Another option is to replace the 2 single seats with a second divan, and this arrangement is followed by the aft vacuum lav that incorporates 2 windows for ambient light, and as mentioned previously, the aircraft comes standard with a forward lav as well. Another design option is an aft shower that weighs in at 150 pounds, excluding water, at a cost of only $900,000. Once again, anytime you add weight to an aircraft, there are going to be trade-offs. Although Dassault and Gulfstream had been installing LCD technology in the cockpit since 2002, it took Bombardier until 2011 when the Global 6000 was introduced. The aircraft had a price point new of roughly $48 million, and of course with the last and current recessions, the prices were all over the place. The 6000 had all the standard equipment of the XRS as well as a few extras, but the biggest change was the Collins ProLine Fusion Avionics Suite, rebranded the Vision Flight Deck. As the name implies, it fuses synthetic vision and enhanced vision systems, or EVS, background imagery onto the same displays and uses a Collins HGS 6000 head-up guidance system, which is capable of displaying both synthetic vision and enhanced vision, providing a virtual VFR environment in the cockpit, day or night, regardless of weather. Max takeoff weight increased from 91,000 pounds in the Global Classic to over 99,000 pounds for the 6000. This additional weight increases standard day takeoff field length from 5,100 feet to over 6,400 feet. Good news for the passengers is the cabin altitude is now 4,500 feet at flight level 450. Standard equipment includes Inmarsat AeroH SATCOM, Swift Broadband Data Link, a 2-channel Iridium SATCOM, and Wi-Fi with internet access. The cabin entertainment system features 2 24-inch flat panel monitors. As mentioned in previous sessions, engines could be placed on a power-by-the-hour program, and in this case, Rolls-Royce offers Corporate Care, which runs about $1,000 per hour. The airframe is maintained on an MSG-3 schedule, and every 10 years undergoes what's called a 8C inspection, which costs about $1.5 million, in addition to $500,000 for gear overhaul. The main competitor to the 6000 is G550, and each one has an impact on the other's resale value, as both of them were priced about the same when new. So how has the value been holding out for these aircraft? And what do the markets look like? If we take a look at the Global Express market, there are now 20 aircraft on the market representing 13.5% of the fleet. The prices are ranging from $4.9 to $10.9 million, but the absorption rate is 40 months. The absorption rate is based upon most recent sales. There have been 3 Global Express sales in the last 6 months, with an average market time of 140 days, and selling prices have ranged from $6.5 million to $8.5 million. Residual value on the Global Classic, over 20 years, the aircraft has retained only 17% of its original cost new. And when you factor the original cost at $38 million, current value of 6.3, that's a loss of 83% in a mere 20 years. How is the XRS market doing? 20 aircraft on the market, representing 12% of the fleet. Average market time in days is 291. Ask prices range from $10.5 to $19.9. Now here's the sad news. Absorption rate, 120 months. That's based upon one sale in the last 6 months. This aircraft sold for $11 million. 120 months, that means it's going to take 10 years to sell 20 aircraft. The Global 6000, there are now 22 aircraft on the market. That represents 6.7% of the fleet. Average market time, 192 days. Ask prices, which have been dipping low as of late, range from $17.9 to $43.5 million. There have been 6 transactions in the last 6 months. Prices have ranged from $21.8 to $30.3 million. Now, how has this aircraft been doing on residual values? Well, if we calculate a original cost new of $49 million, and this is on a 2013 Global 6000, and an average selling price today of $25 million, the aircraft has lost 49% of its original value in just 7 years. Where's Bombardier going with all these aircraft? There's only a very fine market, very select market for these long-range aircraft. Just recently, Bombardier introduced the Global 5500 and Global 6500. These aircraft feature the new Rolls-Royce Pearl 15 engines, which is much more efficient than the previous BR710s. They tweaked the wing. The aircraft's going to have a new cabin management system and interior refinements. But they also stated they're going to continue to make the Global 5000 and 6000. That's a lot of aircraft for a predefined market. But only time will tell where the markets go. It will be interesting to see where they go and where our industry takes us. Thank you for listening today. I'm Dennis Rousseau with AircraftPost's Rousseau Report. Have a good day.